Hey everybody, welcome back to Landshark Garage. Today we're going to do a walk around on my wife's 1968 C10. This is her 68. We built this truck, started it in 2010, finished it sometime in 2012. Got it out of a tree grove a couple miles outside of the town we live in from some people that we knew. We worked on him for about a year and a half to give it up. Hopefully we're going to be able to put some pictures up of what it looked like during construction, because this was rough. This portion of the fender was gone. We did all new floors, rockers, cab corners, inner rockers, cab supports. We had to get a completely different box. This one's a steel box we picked up out in Java, South Dakota from a guy I know. This truck has a 2-inch drop spring front, 3-inch blocks in the rear. This is a metallic gray paint that we shot in the garage here. It's got a lot of metal flake in it. That was something different considering how small the garage is and the air compressor I used at the time. It's got a roll pan. The exhaust on this is a Heartthrob exhaust kit put on by Jensen Auto in Langford, South Dakota. We mounted the fuel cell underneath the box between the frame rails. This is how you access it. It's a 16-gallon fuel cell. Took the tank from behind the seat. That's the box that we carry stuff in, because as you know, we drive our shit to and from car shows. This is the car show winner in the family. Denise has won several awards with it at different car shows. Like I said, 68 Chevy. We did everything on this vehicle. Transmission rebuild, went through the rear end, box, bodywork, paint. This was our first attempt at doing stuff like this, so we took our time, learned a lot on how to do it. We don't put the drive your shit hashtag one in this one, but you probably see this in a few of my videos as Blue Collar Customs. That's a tribute to my lifelong best friend Scott, who died of cancer a few years back. We used to thrash on shit in high school. He's a Ford guy, but I never held that against him. Lost him too soon to cancer, that's for sure. So everything's got a Blue Collar Custom sticker on it. That was his handle on the Ham, if you're familiar with the hokey ass message board. The Ham, that was his handle on there. So we had those made up as a tribute to it. The headlights on this are Truck Light Rigid brand LED lights, very nice lights. They make a huge difference when you're going down the road with that bad boy. Inside, like I said, we did all the floors, rockers, cab corners, inner cab supports. This thing, you'll see in the pictures, this thing was trashed with rust, so that's why rust doesn't really bother us when we start redoing things. These seats are out of a 2001 Trailblazer, I think. They got the integrated seat belt in them. They're nice. Cabs on these things isn't huge. I'm kind of a big guy, so it's a little tight in there for me. I got the B&M shifter and a console we built. No radio in there. We usually use our phones and Bluetooth speakers if we're listening to music when we're driving. Sometimes it's fun just to listen to the car itself. Steering wheel, like I said, 350 automatic, 350 motor in it. Everything works in the dash. We could actually drive this in the winter. This is one of the only vehicles that still has a heater core in it that we could use in the winter. Did the inner door panels, they were the steel ones. Painted them an offsetting color. I love the sound of the doors when they close. Nothing sounds like a 67 to 72 Chevy pickup door closing. This is still a drum brake vehicle. Got drums all the way around on it. and we'll probably change that eventually. This truck was like a horrible orange color when we got it. Filled in the leaf catcher here. We were on our way to a car show right after we got it built. It's about 95 degrees. We opened up the vents inside because it doesn't have air conditioning, and it sucked all them leaves in and plastered it on us. We still talk about that every time we go someplace. This is a, like I said, this is a single stage Sherwin-Williams paint. I bought right in a can. First time we've ever really painted anything substantial. I painted a drag car one time, or my Cutlass. That was in the garage here too. This is a long bed truck, so it took up a lot of space in the garage. You'll probably see that in some of the pictures. Opted for the chrome bumper on that. Yeah, under the hood of this one, we're just looking back that in 2019 we decided to freshen the 350 that we had put in this when we built it. We took it out. My wife went through the whole engine, re-bearinged, re-ringed, did everything we needed to do to bring it back up to par. I'm fortunate enough to have a wife that loves doing stuff like this, and she wanted to do her own motor, so I let her do that. The only thing I did was set the valves, and I took a phone call midway through setting the valves, so when we started it up it was noisy and I had to readjust all the valves. So, tech tip of the day: when you're doing valves and adjusting valves, don't let anybody bother you, because there's a system that it goes through to take care of it, and I didn't pay attention to it. Had a lot of noise. We were afraid we had some issues there, but we didn't. It was just it's not an old Napa Todd's shoulders. Got an electric fan in the front, mechanical fan on it. It's the electric fan we use when we're in car shows or parades, things like that, just so it doesn't overheat. We've never really had any heating issues with it. Like I said, this is a 350, nothing special about it. We did put a little warmer cam in it when we rebuilt it. It's got a Holley 650 electric choke on it, HEI of course. That's all in a cell set. Got the beautiful red plug wires. You know, they're good for a couple tenths at the drag track, so we put them on this just to show how cool it is. Sits a little low. We did break an exhaust manifold one day going into a parking lot that was 60 miles away. Had to stop at one of the local hardware stores and buy some earmuffs so we could drive it home. Later on, when we were putting it up on the rack to replace that manifold, fix the exhaust, kind of shorted out, started a little fire. That was interesting in the shop we were borrowing. You don't really want that to happen. We did add power steering to this, which involved putting a new gearbox on it, and a power steering pump. Made it a little easier to turn. Another gotcha moment on this one: we've taken this to the cities a couple times, and it just never wanted to turn to the right. It just was horrible to turn it to the right. And after wearing out a set of front tires, we realized that drag link, I had mounted that upside down. I didn't have any pictures for reference on how that should be mounted, and it fit both ways. I mounted it upside down and we drove it that way. So it sure turns a lot nicer now that I put a new drag link on it, plus 2 new tires in the front. Let's see, all the bulbs on this they're all LED. Still got the manual brakes. We might be converting that when we do the disc conversion on this. We haven't really made our mind up on when we're going to do that. Typical 67 to 72 problems. If you don't buy new springs, they just don't like to sit down the way they're supposed to, so you get to do that every time. Interior shot. Got our oil and temp gauge, tack. Speedometer does work on this one. for you younger people out there, it's got a floor dimmer switch. You don't see them a lot anymore. Not really a lot behind the seat. Like I said, there says that our 49's got a lot roomier cab than this does. But this is a fun driver. Sounds good. I'll start it up here in a little bit and give it a listen. All right, so here we go. This is the heartthrob exhaust coming right out the back. Sounds really good going down the road. See our tank hanging down a little bit there. Good sound. Well, there we are. Thanks for stopping by Landshark's Garage channel again, visiting and spending time with us. That was our walkthrough of our 1968 C10 Chevy pickup, the one that we kind of started all the shenanigans we take care of in this garage. Fun build. You know, we started it in 2010. We're looking back, and it was close to the end of 2012 when we finally got everything painted, all the body work done. So it spent a lot of time in the garage here. We had everything off of that truck. You'll be able to see some of that in the pictures that we're going to put up with this video. You know, spending time together working on stuff is a great thing to be able to do, and I'm glad that my wife enjoys doing it too. It makes it a lot funner when we need to find something to do. We just go out in the garage and work on our stuff. You see this license plate above us here that says R63. That's the plate we had on our Biscayne, our 63 four-door Biscayne that we built. We took this 68 down to back to the 50s, probably in 2013, and it wasn't old enough to be part of back to the 50s. We usually run down to the back to the 50s with my buddy Scott. He's the one that got us started going to back to the 50s. My buddy Jeff, a few guys from Watertown, we all run down there together, and we took the 68 because that's all we had. And when you go to back to the 50s, you can go into the fairgrounds, not this year because they canceled it again, but you can go into the fairgrounds and park your car with the other 10 or 12,000 cars that are there, provided they're 1964 and older. Our 68 didn't qualify for that, so we had to park it out in the general parking and walk in, which wasn't a big issue other than the stress of leaving something you just spent 3 years of your life building, sitting in a parking lot with a bunch of door dingers. And it was a little stressful. So when we got back, we told ourselves that if we ever find something that we can just throw together quick to take down to back to the 50s that still fits the bill. And lo and behold, a couple months later, this Biscayne come up for sale, needed a motor and transmission, and that motor and transmission we took out of the transmission we built, but the motor we took out of a 72 Chevy Chevelle. Was sitting on a buddy's floor. Bought it for $50. It's got a 2-barrel carburetor, threw it in there. It's the same motor that's in my 49 right now. When we do the walkthrough on the 49, which could be before this one or after this one, depending on how we edit things, you know, you'll hear the story of that motor. But we took that 63 Biscayne. My wife did all the upholstery in that herself. We put a new headliner in it. There wasn't a lot of rust to fix that we wanted to fix, you know, because we like to drive our shit. So we motor transmission and The red wheels that are on my 49 right now were on that Biscayne. When things went south on my 49, we kind of parted that 63 Biscayne out, sold it to a new friend of mine that ever since we sold that vehicle to him, he's been loving it. A young guy, just got married, has it on the road now. It was an interesting vehicle, so we kept the plates off it. When we had all three of them together, his 49, her 68, and our 63, it was pretty fun to have them all in the same pictures together. So thanks for stopping by. Subscribing to our channel really makes a big difference. We're continuing to grow little by little, but the making of these videos, it helps us document what we're doing and keep our sanity a little bit. It's fun to do. It puts a little more challenge into some of the projects you have to do, working on the S10 drag truck as we're trying to get that ready and trying to make sure we're getting good coverage of that so we can go back and look at it too. It's just fun. So thanks for following along on this journey. Like and subscribe. Hit the button so you get notifications when we upload a video. We're not really going to set to a schedule this summer to upload videos. We might do a bunch of short videos and probably not any that are really long unless we have a bigger project going on. I have something in the works right now with another friend of mine on a vehicle that will probably occupy this garage all winter if we can make things work out, and it's kind of looking like we are. And we've got a lot of performance stuff just sitting around that we'll be able to put into that vehicle without having to make it budget. We can make it budget friendly. We already own all this stuff that we're planning on putting into it, and that'll be interesting because that will be a car. And we have 5 pickups right now. We decided we needed to have a car, so we'll do that. You know what our motto is here? We like to put our stuff together, get it on the road, not put it on a trailer. So never forget, drive your shit. That's the main thing. Thanks for following along. We'll see you next time.